it has elections and due process and all these things. But for people maybe decades and centuries ago, the daily politics weren't about that kind of thing. They were about who's around to put the food on the table of the village, or who's around to give our gods what they deserve, and that kind of thing. And so there were songs to influence the people one way or the other. And it's almost the same thing. It's very, very similar to what goes on today.
That's interesting too, because I'm a very deep into Egyptian, and I do know that there's a certain type of the pharaohs would actually get a certain musician or harp player or whatever you want to call them back in the day. I don't think they're called musicians back then, but we'll just call them musicians, ancient musicians. They will actually get the right ones to come to the pharaoh's party or whatever they're having on to represent the gods and play in the gods' favor.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, of course, is as a comedian of mine pointed out once, a comedian that I follow, there were professional mourners who would follow funeral processions in the old days, and they would follow along singing good things about the person who had just passed on, and remember them fondly because they did this, and we're so sad that they're gone, and things like that, to influence everyone that they came across that this was such a good person, so maybe they would be nicer to their family or remember them more fondly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyone out there who's listening in, if you wanted to chat in here with some questions or comments, chat room is open.
Talk to us.
Yeah, talk to us. And the number is 360-464-4216. And don't be shy. It's just politics and music. Anyway, we're going back to the music real quick. This is a local band here in Tacoma. They are called I'm going to pronounce this name. I apologize. You know what? Death and Lies.
Just do it, yeah.
Announce it.
That was Halcyon Halo. Halcyon Halo. What was the song name?
Death and Lies.
Death and Lies.
Hey, great song for this topic. I just realized it. Death and Lies, politics. They're liars. Anyway, I guess it wasn't that funny. Okay, fine. Sometimes my puns are not that funny. Shush. So you were doing your own kind of research on this too. So what did you find out about this topic?
Well, one of the bands you mentioned, of course, you'd mentioned in the top 6 of bands that have been arrested. You'd mentioned Pussy Riot, of course, and it's an all-female group of 3 women who they're a punk band. And they're from Russia, and they were arrested for performing a song that was criticizing the Russian President Putin. And it wasn't only that they just said bad things about him specifically, is that they also performed it in one of Moscow's largest cathedrals, and it was kind of like a double no-no. And of course, they were arrested by Russian police, and it was a real big deal as far as people felt very, very kind of betrayed about that kind of thing, because we're supposed to be living in a time when you don't have to worry about government brutality in civilized places, and here's Russia turning around and arresting a group of artists for having a differing opinion. And it kind of makes people paranoid about how far-reaching that governments can be and how politics can affect you on a really, really basic level. Like, you don't expect it to just lock up your favorite artist just for saying mean things.
Mean things. I don't think it's really mean. I think they're just, making their opinion known to the world. That's my opinion, anyway.
That's kind of what it is basically just people's opinions, sure, but you see it from the other side, and the other side is, oh, they said something really insulting about me, so now I'm angry. And you'd like to think that, oh, well, we're all adults, it's just something that they're being insulting, it's not a big deal, but people in politics don't always feel that way, because the same way that we see them a lot of times as just what they say on the surface, they look super deep into a lot of the things that other people do around them, because they get paranoid. They get into thinking that there was always like someone, an agenda or a reason that you said something the way you did, and it wasn't just on the surface. There's always a deeper meaning to it.
Or perhaps they don't want people to talk about them the way that we see things. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like criticism, and if they feel they're being unduly criticized, then they can get a little bit upset.
Just a little bit. I mean, if the thing is, you think about it, if you do good, then you won't, or there's nothing to criticize about. So if Pussy Riot figure out that their president is not doing something that they feel is great, then they have a right to their opinion and say, hey, they're calling you out on it. There's no need to put them in jail because they called you out on it.
Yeah, that's true. And there's the thing to remember about being in politics is there's always going to be someone out there who doesn't agree with you.
Absolutely. So don't take it personally, people.
Exactly. It's probably always going to be the most obnoxious, most vocal person who's going to disagree with you as well, and they're going to tell everybody very loudly.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, guys, we'll be right back with more the topic, the politics criticism through the music. We're going to take a little break, and we will be, not me anymore, we will be right back.
Yes, we.
Woohoo! Let's Talk About the Music is starting.
What is Let's Talk About the Music, and why are you so excited about it?
It's a podcast with controversial talk and a global mix of music.
Oh, cool. How and where can I listen?
Just go to letstalkaboutthemusic.com and click follow to be sure to get all the info about the bands that are playing and see their music videos. Then click on Spreaker or iTunes to listen live and even chat with other listeners and the host herself.
What day and time is Let's Talk About the Music on?
Every Wednesday night from 8 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time.
I think I'll tune in. Thanks for the info. Join us April 13th on Let's Talk About the Music when the Action Adventure Circus Super Geek League will be talking everything geek. Find out why they are the most unique performance group in the Pacific Northwest. Also on the show co-hosting will be myself, character voice actor and vocal impersonator Ty the Voice Guy. All this and more April 13th starting at 8 p.m. on Let's Talk About the Music.
In the past 12 months, almost 500,000 Australian women reported that they had experienced sexual or physical abuse in their homes. As of September 24th, 2015, 63 women have died. This fact appears at the beginning of the new music video for the song Mayfair by Winter's End of Sydney, Australia. Wednesday, April 20th, on Let's Talk About the Music, we'll talk with the band about domestic violence. Tune in from 8 p.m. to midnight Pacific Standard Time to listen and chat live.
Good.
Let's talk about the music. I'm your host, Shells, and my co-host is on the phone, Greg, also known as Spider in the Hall. Hello.
That's me.
And finally, I'll use this